Hi all, it's Mrs. Cruz. I hope everyone's doing well. This is my office here at YSU, and if you're ever on campus, go ahead and stop by and see me. I'd love to chat with you, see how our things are going. But today I just wanted to take some time to review one of your upcoming assignments that is part of your critical task. I feel that if we have this face-to-face conversation, I think it'll be a little bit easier to understand what's required. And then if you have any questions, of course, please feel free to email me. So if you get out your syllabus, I think that would be a good starting place. I'll have the module uploaded here in the next day or so, but I wanted to kind of put this out so you can start to think about it. So if you go to page 13 of your syllabus, you should see assignment 2, and it's the Child and Family Study Project. So note that it's worth 36 points and 30% of your final grade. So there are two different parts here that we're going to be talking about. So we'll go over part 1, which is the observation, interview, and summary. So remember from our very first conversation and me mentioning you were going to do this assignment, you're needing to find a child that is between the ages of 5 and 9, and you are going to observe them within their home. So of course you're going to also be interviewing their parent. So that's the child and family study piece. So if we look at the syllabus, once you have your child in mind and you have set up your observation and your interview, you are going to be looking at 10 different components. And so those 10 components are going to be part of your final paper that you're going to type up. And so you'll do subheadings for each of these on your paper. And it will be written as a narrative, so not just answering the question. So for instance, number 1 says age of child. You're not just going to say 5 years old. Again, you're going to write in narrative form. Okay. You can say what grade level the child is in, that's fine. Just to note on here, and it says in bold, points will be deducted if you use any names of any children. So you can give the child a pseudonym if you'd like. So, put in quotes, call her Sally instead of her actual name, which might be Carrie. So you may go ahead and do that, but please do not use any names, even for the school that you're talking about. So whether it's the child's school for this one or for when we go to the APEC text, don't use the school name, okay? Or the teacher name. We're not looking to call out anyone. So you're going to go ahead and go through those 10. So family size, you're going to describe their culture and ethnicity, their academic and developmental strengths. So I'm a teacher that's always looking for strengths first. So look for all of those things that might stick out, that child might be really good at doing. So they're a really deep thinker or out of the box thinker. Maybe they are very expressive. Maybe their strength is math. So you want to list all of those. And then number 5 is the weaknesses. So what are the challenges that student faces? The relationship of the school and classroom and family. So when you go through the interview process, you're going to pretty much answer that one. How does the child feel about school? Same thing with the family. How does the family interact with the school? Do they have a positive feeling about the involvement of school or no? The needs of the family, so economically, socially, community involvement and engagement, and then community resources that are available for the family is going to be something you're going to look at. And then any additional information that might help the reader understand this child and this specific family. So remember, we're not, and I'm of course the one grading this. I'm not in that home, so I don't know what you don't tell me. So you got to do a really nice job of creating a good narrative that gives the visual for me. So if we continue to look back. You've got your subheadings and you're going to write your summary again in narrative form. Note here it says at the end of your paper that you want to make sure that you describe how what you feel have been the influences. So thinking about the community, perhaps maybe it's a very vibrant community, and so the family is very involved, or maybe it's not. So how does that impact that child? How does it impact the child's learning? How does the culture impact that child? Be specific, reflect beyond just what you saw, if that makes sense, or just beyond what the family has said. You're there, you're making observations and taking notes. So it's your perspective as well in this. And then, continue to read there. Make sure within this that you are using the course readings. We have a ton of content that's available in each module. Go back, look for maybe some specific things when it talks about developmental needs or community involvement in different parts of our module and different parts of the text. So be sure that you are giving a rationale for each of the things that you're stating. So it's kind of giving your defense, your backup reason. Why do you feel like the culture impacted the student in this specific way? And give research, right, evidence that really backs you up. And of course, you want to put all of this in APA. So if you have cited something or if you're quoting someone, great, but you need to put it in APA. So you'll have your in-text citations following APA format, but you'll also have your reference page. So make sure that you understand that those two things are different. So then we're going to move to part 2, which is on the following page, on page 14. So this is where you're going to really put a little of your own into it. So the first part that you have here is a 1-page philosophy. So what is your philosophy in regards to building family relationships? So for me, that's always been really important as a teacher, is how do you connect with each of your children's family? So it's not just the student, right? Making student connections is fabulous, and we need to do that, but we also need to go outside of the student and really connect with their family. So what's your philosophy on that? How do you see yourself as a future educator and partnering with families? So is it something that you're going to be communicating often? Are you going to invite parents to be a part of your classroom on a regular basis? What are you going to do? What are your beliefs behind that? And it should include theory and research that you've read. Of course, we're going to constantly come back to that. So make sure that you cite your textbook readings or any journal articles that you have found that deal with your context, your philosophy. So it doesn't necessarily at this point need to be a step-by-step of these are the things I'm going to do. It's more of the belief. What are your beliefs about family partnerships and relationships? Okay, if we go down to number 4, so these are the quality elements that we're looking for. And so these should speak to the developmental and learning needs of the child and the needs of the family. So we're looking at both here. Child-family study, kind of keep that in mind. In reality, when you're going to be writing something about your, personal philosophy or your partnership plan with that family or with your students, you're going to put that out to all of your families. You're going to say, this is what I believe, and I'm hoping that you'll come on board and be a part of our classroom, and you'll give, certain ideas. But for this, since you're just doing one child and one family, that's what you're going to focus on. Okay, so let's read through here. So you're looking at the family within your own personal study, and so you're going to base all of that off of, again, the student and the family. Each element must be addressed within the 3 to 4 specific ideas that you as the teacher would do within the class to build the family partnership. So here's where we're going to get specific ideas. What are your ideas for building a better partnership with this particular family that you studied? So one of the resources that you're going to use in here, you need to use an online resource. So it could be a website, it could be a community outreach website, something like that. So make sure one of them is online. So the 4 elements that you are going to be looking at, that's where you want to look at this subheading, so to speak, this area, and then you're going to give an idea. So the first one is family communication and relationship. So how are you going to communicate with that family? What is your plan here to get them to get them on board, to build that relationship with them? Family involvement. So how are you going to get this particular family involved in this student's life within the classroom? And then parent and family education. So what are some some ways in which you can offer them some education. That doesn't mean schooling. That just could mean if you found that you observed a child that struggles with attention issues, and so is not focused and doesn't complete homework and that kind of thing. So you might want to educate the parent on that specific issue, and perhaps provide them with a website or some ideas that would help them to work with their child. And then community resources and support. So thinking outside of the family. So what are some ways that family can get involved inside their community? Is there maybe a boys and girls club that their child can get involved in, or like the Y, where the whole family can be involved, or perhaps there's some resources that would be available. So if you're dealing with a low-income family, a family that's struggling financially, where are the resources for them? Is it a local church? Is it a food pantry? So that's what you're looking at, and you're wanting to provide ideas for each of those categories. Okay, so that's really it. That's really the child and family study. If you have any questions about any of that, please feel free to email me. And this, check your calendar for when it is due, and I will keep you posted up on the modules. Talk to you soon.